Death Parade is set in a bar that becomes a place to judge the sins and mistakes of every human being to determine their next destination. The bar named Quindecim is guarded by a man named Decim, who will be the judge who determines the destiny of every human who enters the afterlife. That day, dressed as a bartender, Decim welcomed a husband and wife named Takashi and Machiko, who had just passed away. They don't remember anything about their deaths like humans who just died. Neither realized that they were dead and considered Quindecim an ordinary bar. Decim immediately carried out the judgment process without wasting more time by ordering them to play the dart game. But unlike dart games, they will risk their own lives in this game. This game's main goal is to reveal the dark side of each of them to find out who deserves to be saved and who will receive punishment. All human vices will surface when they face fear, defeat, disappointment, pain, and death. At first, Takashi and Machiko refused to play the game, but after they both saw some dolls hanging like corpses, they were forced to play the game. They thought that if they didn't play the game, they would be killed by Decim and hung up like dolls. When the dartboard is shown, they see that every number on the board points to every organ of the human body. That means if they point the needle at their heart, their partner's heart will be in pain and vice versa. Since they still didn't realize they had died, Takashi and Machiko still couldn't believe that the game was real. After Takashi threw the needle at the shoulder blade image, Machiko felt pain. During the darts game, he begins to recall memories of the past where he begins to suspect Machiko and thinks that she has an affair with someone else. The memory had affected Takashi, and he began to have ambitions to win the game so he could save himself. That dark side is what Decim refers to as human vices that will emerge when they face pain. After that, Machiko suddenly remembered the previous memory where she and her husband had a car accident and began to realize that they had died. After she told Takashi that they were both dead, he was reminded of the cause of their death. At that time, they were driving together. Then when he saw Machiko cut off a phone call from someone, he became increasingly suspicious of her. Takashi, who was annoyed, immediately tried to grab Machiko's cell phone while holding the steering wheel. However, because she doesn't want to hand over her cell phone, he loses concentration, and their car starts to lose control until they get into an accident. After Takashi realized he had died, he felt sad because he had to lose his child in Machiko's womb. Strangely, Takashi, who had lost his mind, suddenly accused her of sleeping with another man, and the child in her womb was not actually his child. In tears, when Takashi says something like that, Machiko says that the child was not his child but the child of her affair. Hearing her answer, Takashi goes crazy and intends to kill her using a dart needle. However, Decim managed to prevent this, and their judgment process was declared complete because he already knew what their next destination would be. Based on Decim's judgment, Takashi will get a second chance to reincarnate in his next life. Meanwhile, Machiko will be punished and imprisoned in a void where sinners will get their reward. After Decim's first judgment is over, a woman who is the leader of the afterlife named Miss comes to him with a woman named Chiyuki. The two of them had witnessed all of Decim's judgment process on Takashi and Machiko through the control room. After witnessing that, Chiyuki felt something strange about Machiko's attitude, and she assumed that Machiko was deliberately pretending to have an affair to save Takashi. Machiko understands that he has lost everything. His child died, and he can't trust anyone anymore. Because of that, Machiko, who is not actually having an affair at all, decides to lie to Takashi so that she can save him. After hearing Chiyuki's explanation, Decim hesitated because he had made a wrong judgment and had put the married couple in the wrong place. This incident also made Miss, the leader of the place, angry, and she asked him to always be careful and not make the same mistake in the next judgment. In the next judgment process, Miss ordered Chiyuki to accompany Decim so that she could help him give a more accurate judgment. Moreover, Chiyuki seemed to understand human feelings better than Decim, who relied more on human observation and memory. The next day, Decim welcomes a young man named Shigeru and a young girl named Chisato, who died when they were very young. In the judging process this time, Decim will ask them to play a game of bowling because it is closely related to their past memories. When the game started, Shigeru, who knew Chisato, revealed his feelings to her. He tells her he likes her and wants to propose to her if he wins the game. When Shigeru threw his first ball, he suddenly remembered the memories of his childhood when he separated from a friend he liked named Chisato. As Shigeru grows up, he hears that Chisato is now working in a bowling studio, so he tries to approach her when she comes home from work. On the bus, Shigeru approached her seat and intended to greet her to confirm if she was the Chisato he had known. But before he could say a word, the bus suddenly had a fatal traffic accident that killed all the passengers. Soon afterward, when Chisato threw her a bowling ball, she remembered her past life when she was doing plastic surgery to look like Chisato. As it turned out, the girl was not the real Chisato but a girl named Mai Takata, who had been Shigeru's childhood friend. Mai has liked him since childhood, but her love has never been reciprocated because Shigeru prefers Chisato. That was why Mai did plastic surgery to have a face like Chisato, so Shigeru could like her and reciprocate her feelings. Even though both knew they had died, and he knew she was not Chisato, he still expressed his feelings for Mai. After they officially started dating, Shigeru asked Decim for a little time so they could date before being sent to the afterlife. After assessing their behavior, Decim decided to give them a chance to be reincarnated. In the next judgment process, Decim will test a woman named Misaki and a young man named Yusuke. In his life, Yusuke lives a bad life because he is the son of a broken home, and his dad chooses to leave him to marry another woman. While Misaki is a very famous female celebrity and has appeared in various reality shows. When Misaki arrives at Quindecim, she thinks that the bar is a television studio trying to record her secretly and still doesn't realize that she is dead. Decim chose a video game called The Battle of Life as a way to test and uncover their vices. At first, Misaki and Yusuke enjoyed the game, assuming that it was all part of the show from a reality show. To test them, Decim deliberately breaks Yusuke's game controller to find out what he will do next. After losing the first round of the game, Yusuke looked annoyed but managed to control his emotions. When Misaki recalled the collection of dolls hanging like corpses, she thought the game was a life and death gamble. She feels sure that whoever loses the game will be killed and hanged like the dolls, so she has ambitions to win the match. Her bad side begins to unfold because she is terrified of death without realizing that she is dead. After that, it's Misaki's turn to be tested by Decim. She starts to panic because her controller has been damaged, so she starts beating Yusuke until he faints. After the incident, they began to recall memories of their respective deaths. Yusuke decided to end his own life by jumping from the top of the building because he could no longer endure the suffering in his life. Meanwhile, Misaki died from being killed by her manager, who was fed up with all the harsh and violent treatment she had done so far. After the judging process is complete, Decim decides to send Misaki into the void while Yusuke gets a chance to experience reincarnation. The people who will undergo the next judgment process are a young man named Harada and a girl named Mayu. Harada is a member of a famous boy band in Japan that is very successful and has many fans. One of his fans is Mayu, who always comes to his concerts and supports him like any other fan. Even though she had passed away, Mayu seemed happy because she could meet her idol, whom she had admired for so long. Unlike usual, the judgment process this time was not carried out by Decim but by another man named Ginty. He asked them to take turns playing a hands twister game to test them. When starting the game, Harada remembers memories from his life when he once dated a female fan named Kana. Harada, a playboy, ended his relationship with her without giving a clear reason it made her choose to end her life. Several months later, a woman named Lisa begins to approach Harada and date him. But unbeknownst to him, she is actually Kana's sister who wants revenge on him. Before his death, Lisa accidentally placed a bomb in his room and woke him up just before the bomb exploded. Meanwhile, Mayu died because she slipped on the bath soap while taking a shower until her head hit the floor very hard. After finishing the game, Ginty had already determined the fate of the two of them, so he immediately took them to their respective elevators. When Mayu realized that Harada was about to be brought into the void for his sins, she begged Ginty so they could switch places. However, because Ginty could not grant the request, Mayu volunteered herself to go with Harada into the void. This is due to her love and obsession with him so far that she wants to accompany him in that void. The people who will be judged by Decim next are a middle-aged male detective named Tatsumi and a young man named Shimada. They are going to play water hockey to pass the testing process as water hockey, and in the middle of the game, they start to remember the memories of their life. Tatsumi was previously known as a law-abiding detective, but all that changed when his wife was killed by an unknown person. Since the death of his wife, Tatsumi doesn't care about any law anymore and intends to take revenge on the person who killed his wife. After a long investigation and endless searching, he finally found the person who killed his wife. That night, Tatsumi killed the culprit who had hurt his family and destroyed his life in a fury. He also handles a serial rape case in which the perpetrator has raped many girls and ruined the lives of many innocent girls. After finding the perpetrator of the rape, Tatsumi immediately went to the perpetrator's house to carry out the murder. But when he arrived at the house, the perpetrator of the rape had died with many stab wounds on his body. Soon after, Tatsumi was attacked and stabbed by someone from behind using a knife. Unexpectedly, the person who killed him was Shimada, who thought that he was a friend of the perpetrator of the rape. Turns out that Shimada's sister was one of the victims of a serial rape committed by the perpetrator, so Shimada also intended to kill the perpetrator. After Shimada managed to kill the perpetrator, Tatsumi suddenly entered the house, and Shimada, who misunderstood and thought that he was the rapist's partner, immediately killed him. After the game is over, Decim has determined their destiny, and he decides to take them both to the realm of the void. The reason behind his decision is very clear. They have both been blinded by the desire for revenge that made them kill others. On another day, Decim greets a grandmother named Sachiko and asks her to play cards with Chiyuki. When she saw one of the cards with a unique picture, Sachiko began to recall memories of her past. During her life, Sachiko was a mangaka who had been married for a long time but still had no children. One day, she had an idea to draw a little boy riding a big chicken, but the idea was never realized. That's why when she saw a card with a picture of a child riding a chicken, she realized that she had been in the afterlife. Unlike people who usually panic and fear, Sachiko felt peaceful and calm even though she knew she had died, as if she had accepted that fate. Decim looked surprised because this was the first time he had seen someone who looked calm after learning that they had died. After the card game, he wisely decides to send her to be reincarnated in the next life. Meanwhile, Chiyuki had joined the game because she was a deceased human. When she arrived in the afterlife, she knew she had died. Even when she arrived at Quindecim, Chiyuki asked Decim what had caused her to die. The incident made Decim confused, so Miss suggested that they erase her memory and appoint her as an assistant judge for a while. That day, Chiyuki realized that she would be tested like any other human and sent to the afterlife based on Decim's judgment. All of her memories from life have come back. Chiyuki was a professional ice skater trained since she was little. She often wins various ice skating competitions that she participates in and looks very happy living that life. Her life is almost perfect. Her parents are very supportive, her career is brilliant, and her friends are always kind to her. Unfortunately, that beautiful life had to end when Chiyuki suffered a severe injury that made her retire from ice skating. Ever since she stopped ice skating, she started to get really depressed because she didn't know what she would do anymore in her life. Every day, she feels empty even though her family and friends always try to cheer and support her. In the end, Chiyuki, unable to endure the suffering, chose to end her own life. After remembering all that, Decim took her to a place where Chiyuki could see her mother crying over her departure. From here, Chiyuki realized that her actions hurt the people around her, including her family. Seeing her mother blaming herself for thinking that she had failed to understand her daughter's feelings, Chiyuki became very sad. She hoped she could come back alive and apologize to her mother for acting selfishly. After the simulation, Chiyuki hugged Decim, saying she was ready to accept whatever his decision was. After sending her to incarnate, Decim felt that he had learned much from Chiyuki about human feelings. From then on, he was determined to try to be more careful and prudent in carrying out the judgment process. The moral that can be learned from this anime is that we should not easily judge other people for their actions and words without knowing the truth behind all these decisions.